All right, a pleasant good morning to you from Tony'sPicks.com. This is Ramon Scott, and welcome to Night Moves here for a Friday, December 26th. I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. And did you make it all the way through the 14-hour? Was it 14 hours by the time that late basketball overtime game ended there? Is it still going? Did anybody win between the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves? With the Nuggets getting that win, well, we had them. We'll take it. With the show last night, we had the Nuggets here on the show, and what a performance by Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray in there. They became the first duo in NBA history to combine for over 90 points and 25 assists in a game. How about that? In the 142-138 win there yesterday. I say yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Good morning. Welcome to the show. As we get ready for the action here on Friday with 9 games in the NBA and 3 bowl games today. Can we find some other sports to bet on here on Friday? We'll get ready for the big weekend too. NFL action on Thursday. Some good games. Talk about them here in just a moment. There's a Boxing Day game in EPL and some other events as well. So thank you for joining me here on the show. Nice to see everyone here, and I'm glad you made it through the holiday. Get ready for, man, it's going to be a great weekend. But let's talk about maybe just some of the action here from from Thursday, as we wait for a few people to get in here with the show and our NFL triple header with the Cowboys over the Commanders. Hey, we did have a winner last night with the Commanders here taking the points as Washington kicked that 51-yard field goal with 2:09 left for the backdoor cover. They were trying to get the ball back again by figuring that enough time to maybe kick it off, and if they could hold them by using their timeouts, they could possibly get another chance to win there. Josh Johnson provided the cover in the game, 15 of 23 for 198 yards in his first start there in 4 years. So Dallas ran 87 plays in the game and had nearly 500 yards of total offense. Washington had 41 plays in the game, but they did have 328 yards. So they moved the ball pretty effective against that Dallas defense. For sure, Dallas led 21-3 with 7 minutes left in the first half as the Cowboys scored 24 points on their first 4 drives. They ran the ball for over 200 yards in the game as well. Commanders basically losing 10 of their last 11 games right now, and they did get that cover, but still 3-8 against the spread their last 11 there. So did you have it with the Commanders and the over in that one on Saturday? How about the Vikings eliminating Detroit from playoff contention 23-10 as the Lions? They just managed to turn the ball over 6 times in their 12 drives in the game. A truly pathetic performance by the Detroit Lions. They ran for just 60 yards. For some reason, they kept trying to run. They couldn't run. 30 carries in the game, averaging just over 2 yards per carry. Minnesota won despite having only plus 3 net passing yards in the game with Brosmer. Uh, their Vikings did run for 158 yards, and hey, they held 5 of their last 6 opponents to under 300 yards. So the Vikings, I'll tell you what, the defense can make the defense of the Vikings could make the playoffs. The offense couldn't make the playoffs, so they're not a playoff team. And in the end, neither were the Lions this season. A lot of people were critical of Campbell, and yeah, he likes to roll the dice a lot. And they said, hey, we see Campbell here. Ever since he took the offense over, they hadn't won. But the offense actually were better than it was before. It's the defense that kind of gave things up a little bit, and they just couldn't get it done against what turned out to be a pretty decent Minnesota defense in the end this season. Got a couple of games left here, but still, nonetheless, for the Minnesota Vikings here, a much deserved win there for the big crowd there on Christmas. Skol wins it 23-10. Also, late game there was the Broncos over the Chiefs 20-13. Was it Kelsey's last game at home? Kind of felt like it, but I don't know. I think his comments there with Tony Gonzalez kind of left the door open a little bit. Maybe feeling a little bit like he could try to get one more go round here with Mahomes. If he sure should be back by the beginning of the season. It'll be close, but maybe he just has to wait and see what Patrick says about his timetable too. But sure did feel like maybe Kelsey, such a competitor, and on that last drive, he looked like the best tight end in the game. And once again, so Denver did drive 65 yards for the game-winning touchdown with 1:45 left for their 12th win in 13 games. Denver 0-5 against the spread as a road favorite this year. Kansas City's lost 5 in a row, 7 of their last 8. How about Oladokin? 13 of 22, 66 yards there, but he made some plays there down the stretch. And again, that was his first, basically his first game in there. He, been on the practice squad for 4 years. We talked about him last night a little bit, right? That he had been to the, FCS playoffs before, and had a taste of kind of that big game feel. But nonetheless, Denver gets it done. Kansas City just 4 of 11 on third down. Broncos held the Chiefs to 139 yards and outgained them 300-140 basically in the game. So see what you guys are up to. Let me say hello to everyone in the chat. We'll talk about maybe a few basketball games as well there on Friday. Did you enjoy the NBA more, or did you enjoy the NFL more? I think the NBA won in terms of good games there. I don't know if it's what you guys wanted, but still, maybe the NBA provided a little bit more entertainment. I don't know. So to figure it out here, nice to see you in the chat joining me, waiting for me to get here after that long day. Oh man, long day of, see, we do like to have overlapping games sometimes and watching 2 games. Maybe one's not so good. Cal Dog is here. Timmy Two Shoe as well going in the chat. We'll preview the games here. Cal Dog says Vegas might have cleaned up here with these games today, with the dogs barking a little bit. Yeah. The dogs are sweeping the holidays is what they said, right? Thanksgiving and Christmas. Did they sweep them all? Did the dogs win everything on the 2 biggest holidays of the year with the NFL games? Let's see. Timmy says NBA was fun. That last game was pretty wild, that's for sure, and fun as the Nuggets got it done. You could see Minnesota still pretty darn competitive, and I think they will, have something to say in the Western Conference, don't you think, guys? With those games, let's I'll just recap them here real quick. Then we can start with the show. We've got just about enough in here to get rolling. But yeah, the Knicks beating the Cavs there in that first game, 126 to 124. The Knicks were down 17 points in the fourth quarter. It was all about Tyler Kolek. I mean, you got all these superstars on the Knicks. Hey, it was all about Tyler Kolek in that one, right? With his 16 points and 9 assists off the bench. And I saw some memes even talking about Tyler Kolek there and his late game play. Tell who was it, Cat? Go over here, go this way. telegraphing the play there a little bit. So Knicks got the win over the Cavs in a good game. Cavs at least got the money in a game here for once. We didn't have it right here on the show going under, but Cavs did get the money. Spurs over the Thunder. We said it, right? I mean, we called it here on the show, said take the Spurs. I don't know if they were going to win, but they were getting nearly double digits, right? The Thunder's got a Spurs problem. They don't match up well with the Spurs. That's just the plain as day, simple facts. Here, Darren Fox, 29 points, another good game against the Thunder. Oklahoma City, they're 26-2 against anybody named the San Antonio Spurs. Against the Spurs, they're 0-3, and they did get the money. We had Spurs plus points on the show. Should have just, showed some guts and said take those Spurs. But again, I think it was clear to us. And look, you guys in the chat, no disrespect. We had a few of you on the Spurs in there, but revenge, doesn't always mean everything, right? Just felt like the Spurs to me are, a team that definitely can contend here in the Western Conference. Look, the Thunder may be far and away, but if these two teams ended up in the 7-game series for some reason, you'd certainly be scratching your head wondering, could the Spurs actually do it? When it came down to the pressure of elimination basketball. But nonetheless, great win again for the Spurs. And that one, Warriors, yeah, they beat the Magic. They had a little bit of a guy named Jimmy Butler. We give him a hard time there for sure, but nonetheless, Butler, that was our only premium in the NBA there with the over, and we scored there in that one with the over. Yeah, I was thinking Dallas had a chance to hang in there, and hey, they did hang in there. They almost got the money. Doesn't matter. You had the Warriors, you got the money. D'Anthony Melton scored 16 points in 24 minutes off the bench. Butler, 14 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists to get it done there for the Warriors. And Lakers got blown out to the Rockets. Yeah, I know I was here on the over in that one last night. Yeah, maybe I was leaning to the Lakers. I think everybody got the gist there. But the Rockets were much the best. Houston had 6 players score in double figures. They shot 61% from inside, and were much better than the lifeless Lakers there on Christmas to get that win. And then late night, of course, we mentioned the Nuggets. So, all right. Thanks for joining me here, everybody. We've got a couple dozen of you in here, so I think we can maybe fire it up and get ready to talk a little football and basketball on the show. I think we should start with the bowl games here on Friday. We got bowl action starting early, and all the NBA is late tonight with a Friday night card. So I think we'll maybe talk a little college football here to get us going here on Night Moves. Get your pens, rotation order ready here for the action. All right. Get the games up here. Here we go. Let's go to the Sports Bowl here at Ford Field. What's this thing called? I just know we're in Ford Field. Maybe I should work with the sponsor here a little bit more. The Game Above Sports Bowl here. Apparently, that's a company, and it's going to be the Central Michigan Chippewas taking on the Northwestern Wildcats here. And look at this: the Wildcats are favored here by 10.5 points in this one. Yeah, I know we're Big Ten against the MAC here, but. Nay, not so fast, my friend, as a commentator a former coach once said. Chippewas, yeah, they're dogs here. They've won 4 of their last 6 games coming into this one, but did lose to Toledo, 21-3. Got knocked off there pretty good, and did end the MAC here with some wins over Kent, a win and a cover on the road. They beat a Buffalo, doubled them up as just a 2.5-point favorite at home. Covered against Western Michigan on the road and did beat up on UMass down the stretch here this season. Before the Wildcats, they lost their finale to the Illini 20-13. They did beat Minnesota 38-35, but didn't cover as a 4-point home favorite in that one. They covered against Michigan impressively at home, 24-22. The Wolverines got the win, but the Wildcats were getting 10 in that game. They did get blown out at USC, and they lost at Nebraska in a push here. So got a pretty good quarterback at Central Michigan in Labas, the former Iowa quarterback here. Chippewas, they played they played Michigan as well this year. I don't know if you want to use comparative opponents in this game. However, as I said, Northwestern lost to Michigan 24-22. Central Michigan lost to Michigan 63-3. So does that mean we automatically, think that maybe Northwestern is, 60 points better than Central Michigan? I don't think in this one, even though this is Central Michigan's first bowl game in 4 years. They're not great bowlers. They're 1-4 straight up and 1-4 against the spread. But, the MAC did do pretty well in non-conference games, and usually they do play up. They were 23-17 were the MAC this season against other conferences. Northwestern did lose 4 of their last 5, but consider the competition in the Big Ten. They did start 5-2, including their non-conference schedule. They did do pretty well. 2 of their 5 wins against FBS opponents were by 20 points or basically 20 points or more. They've got a pretty okay quarterback for sure in Losh, but just a 14-12 touchdown to interception ratio. Northwestern just 3-5 ATS is a favorite under Braun, and Northwestern 5-0 straight up, 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 bowl games. These teams haven't met since before the pandemic, but this year the MAC went 0-13 against the Big Ten, right? So kind of what I was talking about with the spread record of the MAC against the rest of the country. They can't beat the Big Ten, but they did go 7-6 against the spread against the Big Ten, despite losing all 13 matchups that the MAC went up against the Big Ten. The last 5 years, the MAC has covered 3 of 5, and we always do get the same type of matchup here, a little bit MAC champ against a little bit bigger school here. So maybe you guys have an opinion here with this one. Let me know with the matchup between Central Michigan and Northwestern here. Like I said, Central Michigan 8-4 against the spread this season. Meanwhile, Northwestern was 6-4-2 against the spread, went 3-2 against the spread as a favorite. Central Michigan maybe trended a little bit over this year, going 7-5 over here. Let's go to the chat and see if you guys have an opinion on this one, and I'll make my opinion known with Central Michigan and Northwestern here. The Purple Cats here on Friday. This one's at 1 Eastern and 10 Pacific from Ford Field. All right, here we go with some opinions here maybe on this one. Hello to Viral in the chat, joining us tonight. All right, and Senna says, I want to take the chips plus the points and the under for a same game parlay. There, I think he means money line though, right? With that one for 7.5 to 1. Too many points and no big plays, says Cinna. Viral likes the over in this one. Uh, all right, I'll give Viral. Maybe a Viral can take the total. Maybe I'll go to the side in this one. If Viral's going to look at the total there over, I don't know, man. Uh, I know it's a low total too, so the number went down. It's 43 flat, says Cinna. Cal Dog likes the over as well. Okay. And Timmy says he thinks Northwestern, you got the bigger school here for sure. So, look, it's just a matter of where you think Central Michigan can hang around, I think. And, yeah, maybe they have a chance to win outright here. But, you got to have LaBasse here. He definitely matches up there, I think. He's been pretty effective all season, 70% passing percentage. So, he's had some good games for sure this year. And for Northwestern, I think it's actually Stone in there at quarterback. Let me see what's going on here with the report. There went down, opened, close to 12 and a half, and then we see it go down to 10 basically here in this one. So, all right, let's see here. Viral says tricky spot. There you go. And yeah, I mean, there's going to be plenty of opt-outs here with these two. So don't want to read too much of this list of players that aren't in this game. But all right, not much from the chat in this one. So I'll go ahead and take the side. We saw some plays on the over there from the chat. So I'll take the Chippewas in this one. I'll take the 10.5 points here with Central Michigan. I'll ignore that 63-3 spot for Central against the Wolverines. And of course, like I said, Northwestern lost to them only 24-22. That's a pretty big discrepancy when you figure the common opponents there. Look, Chippewas run the ball well enough to shorten this game, I think. Northwestern has injury questions also at running back that could affect their ability to control the tempo. And look, this is a double-digit bowl underdog here, so I'm not expecting a very high-scoring game actually. Let's see here. Central Michigan 5-1 ATS in their last 6. Have lost to 8 straight Big Ten opponents coming in. Northwestern, meanwhile, under in 13 of 16 against MAC opponents here over the last couple of last 10 plus years or so. So, all right, I think that's it for that one. And I'm going to go ahead and take a stab here with Central Michigan. That's my pick here on Night Moves. All right, we're going to move it on here now and come a little bit west with our next matchup. We're headed to Chase Field here for the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. The Rate Bowl here in Phoenix, between the New Mexico Lobos taking on the Minnesota Golden Gophers. So we have another Big Ten against a small conference opponent here in this one with the Golden Gophers. They're favored here. They're favored by only 1.5. Big difference here than the Northwestern and Central Michigan. And look, we got the Mountain West here going, right? I mean, to me, I'm just like bells and whistles here a little bit. We've already said, yes, Hawaii won the game yesterday. We said it was completely different than the other Mountain West teams that have totally looked like garbage here in the bowl season because Hawaii at home. And look, the way they overcame that 3 touchdown deficit early, that it's a whole different ball game. Hawaii at home when you're talking about the Mountain West here and the future of Pac-12, if you will. So for Minnesota here, 7-5 coming into this one. Gophers 3-1 decided in games decided by a touchdown or less, maybe 8 points or less. Really here for the Gophers. in this one. They're 0-3-1 as a favorite this year. Minnesota Golden Gophers have won their last 8 bowl games coming in to this. They're bowl tested with Mr. Bowl season, PJ Fleck. Uh, for New Mexico here, they've won 6 in a row, their longest winning streak in 28 years coming in. They did lose 3 games, and in those games allowed 34, 35, and 41 points. Can Minnesota rack up the yardage here in this one? For New Mexico, this is their first bowl game in 9 years. The Lobos are 4-1 against the spread in games decided by or lined by single digits. New Mexico went under in 5 of their last 6 games, and Mountain West teams against non-conference opposition this season did go 15-9 against the spread as an underdog. These teams haven't met since before the pandemic. Big Ten teams were 4-2 straight up, but 1-5 against the spread against Mountain West competition. However, Minnesota was 0-4-1 against the spread as a favorite this year. I know they are favored in this game. It is 1.5. Still, they went 4-7-1 against the spread overall. New Mexico 7-5 ATS, 4-2 against the spread as an underdog. But again, for me, now the favorites have covered 4 of the last 5 rate bowls. But again, the Mountain West in bowl games just doesn't do it for me. But let me see what you guys have. Maybe I'll pivot to the total here in this one if you guys are on the side. Let me take a look at the comments from the chat and see what you have here at the Rate Bowl going off here at Chase Field. All right, let's see here. New Mexico, and let me correct the graphic too, by the way. Sorry about that. We know it's New Mexico Lobos, not New Mexico State Aggies. Don't let anybody get confused on that. We know got to make sure our Mountain West team is in there. Okay, here we go, though. Hopefully that didn't screw anybody up. New Mexico will have more supporters there, or should have. Maybe. Minnesota, look, I don't know if you know this, but there's a lot of people from Minnesota that go to Phoenix every year for maybe months on end or a few months. It's one of those, destination places, if you will, for those in the Great Lakes area for sure. There'll be a lot of Minnesota fans there. Lobos for Timothy Hawk here. And Viral says, how about the Rainbows there the other night? Why couldn't this one go over, right? Because maybe, well, let me see here. I don't know. I'm going to probably go with the total. Both are over so far. Where's the defense? Gophers could score almost 30 points in this game. Wow, Timmy. Okay, he's got this one as an absolute blowout here. This is a game line by 1.5 points and the total 43.5. Timmy thinks it could be a 30-point. Well, maybe he thinks it'll be high scoring there at least, huh? Okay, Cinna said maybe the under there. What's he saying there? New Mexico here for Cinna. Cal Dog. Sorry, Cal Dog. I hope you mean New Mexico. Hope you're right. Yeah, not state. And Greg's here. There's Greg in the chat. Says the Lions are worse than the Cleveland Browns. Gophers team total over for Timmy there, maybe. And if New Mexico is home now, New Mexico, like I said, yeah, the comments there are right. I mean, they're obviously the proximate wise closer team, but I don't know if it's going to be an advantage. The Lobos do have some great fans, no doubt about it. They're a basketball school. And Viral says, "Don't go blowing it up on the over." No, in fact, let me make my call here. Actually, in this one, I'm going under in this game at the Rate Bowl. Uh, here in this one, I'll take the under with New Mexico and Minnesota here at 43 and a half. Jack Lane has been pretty effective here this season. 66% completion rate for Lindsey here. I'm going to be more experienced, but Minnesota, they're kind of a short passing field position type team. So New Mexico, 4-1 ATS in their last 5 games coming in. They're 6-2 ATS, their last 8 games as an underdog. Minnesota here, pretty good finish for sure right now. But they did go under in 4 of their 5 games as a favorite this season. New Mexico went over in 4 of their 6 games as an underdog here. Greg says he's got this one. He's got New Mexico here. And Cinna figured it out. That's right. The show that the sports books watch right here, Night Moves, late night. Shout out to all those BMs sitting in their office right now, the middle of the night shift watching Night Moves. All right, I'll take the under in this one at the Rate Bowl. All right. And Timmy says, for that Minnesota team total over, I'm only going to need 2 touchdowns and 3 field goals right there. 23 points. That'll get it done. All right, let's head now to the First Responder Bowl. Well, we all can get behind our first responders. This one's being played at the Ford Stadium in Dallas with the First Responder Bowl. Florida International and Texas San Antonio. Florida International winners of 4 straight coming in. They're 7-5. Meanwhile, UTSA 6-6 on the season. They've won 2 of their last 3 coming in, win and cover over Charlotte impressively, 28-7 over that terrible Charlotte team, and they beat East Carolina at home 58-24. They did lose to Army in the finale, 27-24 at home. They were an 8.5-point favorite, but we know Army finished pretty decently. For sure. For FIU, their 4-game winning streak at the end of the season here included 4 straight covers. They won and covered at MTSU 56-30. They won at home against Liberty, covered as a dog, obviously 34-27. They beat Jacksonville State at home as a 2.5-point favorite, 27-21, and they hammered Sam on the road 56-18 to finish the season strong here for FIU. They went 8-4 against the spread this season. Did the FIU here, the Panthers. Meanwhile, for the Roadrunners here, they were 9-3 to the over this season. Florida International did go over in 4 of their last 6 games. Coming into this one, let's see what you have here with Florida International and Texas San Antonio. Panthers, man, they were averaging over 42 points there. I could even figure that out looking at these scores over the last of those 4 wins. So Florida International pretty good at running the ball too. Last 2 games, averaged 250 yards on the ground. They went over in 3 of their last 4. This is the first bowl game in 6 years for Florida International, although they did lose 3 of their last 4 bowls overall. Roadrunners here did go, just as I said, 2-4 against the spread as a favorite. They did go over in 6 of their last 7. UTSA's won each of their last 2 bowls impressively, 35-17 and 44-15. UTSA did win this matchup 3 years ago, but it was 30-10. However, they were 33-point favorites in that game. last 7 years, the underdogs have covered 4 out of the 7 meetings between these two. But I think we have kind of a, I don't want to say a mismatch here a little bit, but does seem like this is the right matchup for UTSA. Let's go to the chat and see what you have. Maybe I'll go with the total if you guys are more interested in the side. Let's see what you got here in the First Responder Bowl in Dallas. All right. Greg says here, let's see. Let's see if I get it right here. Cal Dog likes Florida International here. Yep. No, Florida International is the Panthers. They're not a Birds. FIU though, and the plus the points. FIU for Senate looks like. But yeah, taking the points does seem to be pretty good in the bowls. I'm not sure about this one though. Man, Texas San Antonio here, basically almost a home team anyway. In this one, both teams average over 400 yards per game. Man, this one could go through the roof. In fact, maybe I'll go to the total here. It's already talked about Texas San Antonio. They average almost 34 points per game. FIU went over in 4 of their last 6, and UTSA did go over in 6 of its last 7. No defense maybe for these two of this one. Give me the over. I'm going to take the over in this one for sure at 60. I think we can get to 67 or something along those lines here in this matchup. Anything else in the chat? UTSA 14-0 straight up against Conference USA opponents. I mean, that is a pretty significant trend. Yeah, they're favored by 6, so maybe you don't want to weigh that into the overall, but still, I mean, when you're winning 14 straight against that conference anyway, and you got it's a top representative there, but UTSA with that bowl success as well, and not to mention Florida International is just 4-13 in their last 17 games against the American Conference. So I'm going to go ahead and take the over, but I have a feeling this one might not be for the Dogs. And Viral says if McCown is in there, let me bring it up and see what the latest is. So I do think we get McCown here in this one. So probably Jenkins and McCown, it feels like, right? Jenkins, 63% passing, 9 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. They run they run a lot of play action, stuff like that. McCown, though, he probably will be the best player on the field for sure. 2,700 yards passing, 27 touchdowns, and 7 picks. And they'll throw, probably upwards of 40 passes in the game, I would imagine here. Greg likes San Antonio here, but maybe he likes the under. Actually, he likes FIU maybe to cover the spread. And Viral says UTSA isn't bad on defense. Hell, they against a good team like FIU, a decent team like FIU, you gotta think maybe there'll be some points. Okay, I'm gonna take the over though. Give me the over in this one. Florida International and UTSA at the First Responder Bowl in Dallas. Thanks, chat. All right, we've got a big NBA card we're going to get to here right now. Get ready for our 9 games in the NBA tonight. All right, first up, NBA, 9 games here on Friday night, 7:10 Eastern, 4:10 Pacific. Got 4 games popping off at the start of the hour there with The Toronto Raptors on the road taking on the Washington Wizards. Toronto coming in 18-13. They've lost 2 of 3 coming in. They did beat Miami last time out on the road, 112-91 to snap a 2-game skid. Washington, meanwhile, back-to-back losses to the Spurs and Charlotte last time out. Washington just 4-8 against the spread at home this season. Toronto 9-7 against the spread on the road, although Toronto has failed to cover in 10 of its last 13. They're 7-12 against the spread as a favorite, but the Wizards are 10-16 against the spread as an underdog. They haven't been great. Toronto, they do cover on the road, but usually as an underdog is their more likely spot. Still, they've covered 7 of the last 9 meetings against the Wizards overall in this one. Toronto's gone under in 6 straight games. Washington's gone under in 4 of its last 5 games coming in. However, Washington is 9-3 to the over at home. Toronto, though, 5-11 to the under on the road and 6-13 to the under as a favorite. 7 of the last 10 meetings between these two teams, regular opponents here anyway, have gone under. Let's see what you got here in this one. Washington's actually covered 4 of its last 6 coming in. And let's go to the chat here and see what you guys have. These two teams have already met a couple of times this season. Toronto won them both, although they failed to cover at Washington in an early season matchup favored by 5 on the road. They did win it by 1 point. Then they came later, beat Toronto, won about a month ago, 140-110 as a 14.5 point favorite here. And we know the Wizards are certainly struggling, having lost 16 of their last 20 overall. All right, let's see here. Raptors -9. Is that too high, Viral? Or why are they only 9, says Senna? Right? Greg leans to the Wizards here, it looks like. And Raptors for Timothy Hawk here. McCollum to nail his threes, dialing it up from long range. All right, you guys are kind of on the side, so give me the under here in this one with Toronto and Washington. I'll try the under here with these two. Like I said, Toronto pretty hardcore under here this season, 11-20 to the under so far, and that total of 228 there. Right now, in fact, I'm showing it dropping here to as low as 227 right now. So give me the under in this one. Raptors should be higher than 9 points. What's going on? I don't know like I said, you do have a Washington team here. Yeah, they don't do much, but they've been covering a few games here of late. Kispert is out for the Wizards. Whitmore is out for the Wizards as well. For Toronto here, Podol is out of this game. Murray Boyles is questionable. So I don't think there's anything on the injury list that necessarily says anything, but I'll go ahead and take the under in this one. Raptors play good against good teams. Cinna figured out, says maybe we should roll the dice on this one, huh? All right, the Miami Heat on the road taking on the Atlanta Hawks. Two teams slumping here right now. The Heat have lost 3 straight to Boston, New York, and Toronto. Meanwhile, Atlanta's on a 4-game losing streak, and their spread streak is even longer. They haven't covered anything in several weeks. Right now, Atlanta's had consecutive losses to Charlotte, San Antonio, and lost twice at home to the Bulls before Christmas. Coming in, so they're in a big slump right now. And not only that, Atlanta just 4-10 against the spread at home, 5-11 against the spread as a favorite. Meanwhile, Miami 9-5 against the spread as a dog, 8-6 against the spread on the road. So they usually can get it done. They're actually getting the points here. Maybe that will be a better spot. Current line 4, and this total though. Oh man, this one's gone up to 245.5. I typed these games in kind of during the end of the uh, Wolves game back there. Well, maybe it was a little bit earlier than that, but this one's gone up for sure between Miami and Atlanta here. Miami has failed to cover in 5 of its last 7. They've gone under in 7 of their last 9. Miami, has dropped 8 of their last 9 games overall, but Atlanta's failed to cover, as I said, in 6 straight. They're 1-5 straight up in their last 6. Atlanta's gone over in 6 of their last 8. 5 of the last 6 meetings between these two teams have gone over. Man, that's a high total, but I think this one might go through the roof. Now, this series is interestingly a series that has gone over in five, like I said, I think it's 5 straight actually, but or 5 of the last 6 for sure. However, the totals have actually gone over, but only because this total was lower. It was more like 220, 225, 230, and it snuck over. It didn't go over 245. I'll tell you that. But this one is supposed to, just because of I think what we've kind of seen here right now. Mostly from Atlanta. They're 18-13 to the over, 10-6 to the over as a favorite. Miami, meanwhile, that have been going under of late, but they're still 9-6 to the over as an underdog. So let me hear from you in the chat. This is a pretty high total, and it keeps going up, and maybe it's going up for a reason. See if you guys have anything here with the Heat and the Hawks in this one. Greg says he's got Miami to win this one outright. Look at that, 124 to 122 there. And Miami has a great coach, says Greg. The Heat Hawks total is high as heck. Bookies see overtime, I think Viral says there. I think he thinks that might be built in. I'm going to go over, actually, in this one. Let me take the over. I actually like the over. And, I was hot on the over, but 245.5. Let me just make it my free play here on the show. 240. What did it open here? I know it was considerably lower here. 243.5 it opened there. So I'll just take it as my play here on the show. Hero is out. Bam is questionable in this one. So definitely going to be missing Hero here with that toe injury. 23 points per game scorer here, but I'm still going to go with the over in this one. Let's see what else is going on. Wiggins probable, Mitchell probable, Larson probable, Jovic probable. Kashad Johnson is questionable for Atlanta here. Dyson Daniels probable. Dante is out. KP still out. He's had that. He's been out now for a while. All right, and Hero's been out. Yeah, it's been. Greg says maybe it'll land 260 here. Timmy says that's a Hawks total. There, I think is what he's saying. If it's that high, it'll be a Hawks win there, maybe. I think Miami can stay in it. All right. Give me the over, though, in this one. Charlotte Hornets taking on the Orlando Magic. In this one, you got the Magic here favored by 6. Total 231. Both teams coming in off of a win. Charlotte beat Washington 126 to 109 last time out for their third win in 5 games. Orlando, meanwhile, beat Portland on the road 110 to 106. Won and covered as a 1.5 point favorite. Orlando really hasn't been that great against the spread of late. They're just 2-8 overall in their last 10 games, but pretty good series actually for Orlando. They've covered 5 straight meetings against these two teams. Charlotte does come in having covered 4 of their last 5. They're also 14-11 against the spread as an underdog. Charlotte's gone under in 11 of its last 14. Orlando's gone under in 6 of its last 9. Charlotte is 8-17 to the under as an underdog this year. And 4 of the last 5 meetings between these two, all Orlando wins, by the way, have gone under. Two teams met back on October the 30th, and Charlotte won 123-107. That was an under, as Orlando won and covered in Charlotte. Let's see what you guys have here in this one. Between Charlotte and Orlando here, 6-point spread, total 231. Nothing from the chat here. Oh, Senna figured out, says he likes the under here in this one. Greg says, I think he leans to the Magic here. He leans Magic and over. Charlotte for Cal Dog. Bain here, 3 threes. They were showing that play on the NBA show today with the guys. Bain throwing the ball. Magic to cover there for Viral. Man, I think I'm going to take another total here, you guys, with you guys kind of back and forth there. You got basically 2 and 2, it looks like, in the chat. So I'll take another total here. Give me the under in this one with Charlotte and Orlando. Like I said, Charlotte, pretty hardcore under for sure as an underdog. So I'll take the under in this one. Magic can do for a good win. Yeah, definitely had a few struggles here. That win over Portland snapped a spread losing streak. Boston Celtics on the road, winners of 3 straight, taking on the struggling Indiana Pacers. They just can't seem to get it together right now. They've covered a few here and there, but right now, Indiana on another losing streak. They've lost 6 in a row here right now, coming off of a loss to Milwaukee before the holiday. At home, they lost by 17 points. They did lose to Boston, but they covered. The two teams met back just 5 days ago, and Boston won at 103-95. But the Pacers were getting 11.5 points in that game. Still, Boston 8-6 against the spread on the road. Talking about Indiana, right? How bad they are this season record-wise, but they found the money in a few spots. They're 9-7 against the spread at home, and Boston's just 1-5 against the spread. Their last 6 games against Indiana. Could say that this Indiana team is different than the ones that they were facing in those last 2 seasons here. Boston's covered 10 of their last 13. Remember, they were on a big-time cover streak before they ran into a little bit of trouble, but now with these wins, they covered against Miami at home. They covered at Toronto, and then their last game actually was the game against the Pacers. The Pacers did play another game, like I said, since then when they played Milwaukee. But for Boston, basically, this is playing the same team here back to back. So see if you think the Celtics, though, can maybe run it up on these guys right now. Boston, like we said, man, they've started to heat up here a little bit. Have now gone to 18-11 overall. So kind of put some of the, I don't want to say slow start aside, but they are starting to win some games here right now. They've actually gone 8-2 straight up in their last 10, 10-3 ATS in their last 13 games overall are the Boston Celtics. So let's hear from you in the chat. 8 of the last 10 meetings between these two teams have gone over, but Boston's gone under in 4 of their last 5 and under for Indiana in 6 of its last 8. So I'm probably gonna take the points at home with the Pacers right now. they're in a losing streak. I get that, but they did cover in the last one at Boston here. Let's see what you got. Anything from this game? Greg, I think he's leaning towards Indiana here as well. Viral, though, likes the over here. And I'm going to go ahead and take the Pacers in this one, plus the points against Boston here on Friday night. Give me the Pacers here against the Celts. I don't. This it's down to 2. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me fix that total, by the way. 221.5. There we go. Let's see here. It will be the Pacers that have a little bit more on the injured list here. Isaiah Jackson is out. Oh, McConnell is probable here for the game right now. For the Celtics, just Jordan Walsh. He's probable. Oh, Boucher is out of this game. So I'll take the Pacers here, plus the points. And let's see here. Timmy Two Shoes likes White here, and maybe McConnell as well. Indiana's going to play hard at home. Yeah, right. It's been bad for Indiana. We know that, but look, they're not a great cover or anything. But again, for a team that is 6-24 overall and 5-11 straight up at home, they are 9-7 against the spread at home right now. So they're not necessarily overrated. Even with as poor a record they have right now. Could be a Boston letdown spot, maybe. I'll go ahead and take the Pacers here on Night Moves. Right, we're going to keep it moving here right now. Sixers on the road, taking on the Bulls. In this one, you got the Bulls favored by 1.5. We're into the 7:30 block here Eastern. Bulls have won 4 straight. These streaky Bulls, man, they started so hot and then cooled down, obviously. But there we go. Let me get the scoreboard straight there. For Chicago here, consecutive wins and covers. Interestingly, they played Cleveland in a home and home, won and covered both of those. Then they played back-to-back games at Atlanta, not back-to-back nights, but 2 games in a row at Atlanta, and won them both here for a 4-game winning streak over just 2 separate teams. But hey, they covered them all. They were an underdog in all 4 of those games, and they won them outright. So good on the Bulls a little bit here. Now, look, they're going up against a Philadelphia team that's a terrific spread team. No doubt about it. And if you look at kind of the numbers here, maybe will tell the story. The Sixers did just lay a clunker last time out against Brooklyn, no doubt about it. 114-106. They lost at home as a 9.5-point favorite. But before that, they won and covered against Dallas. They won and covered against the Knicks, remember, with an impressive road win. They did cover at Atlanta despite a loss, and they rocked Indiana. Philly is 9-1 against the spread on the road. Chicago's 2-11 against the spread as a favorite. They are still favored here right now by just 1 or 1.5. So maybe you want to look past that Bulls favorite record, but still 6-1 at home. Philadelphia just the best road team at covering the spread in the league. But again, almost a general pick 'em here. Right now, Philadelphia actually is 4-10 straight up as an underdog, and 8-5 against the spread. 8-5-1 against the spread. But again, Philadelphia, Chicago's been a terrible favorite so far this season. Let's see maybe what you guys have here right now. Philly's covered, as I say, 4 out of their last 5 coming in. They've won 13 of the last 20 meetings between the two, and it's a near pick 'em. Maybe that could vouch for something. Chicago's won 5 of their last 6 covering in those games. They've covered 5 of 6. 9 of the last 10 meetings between these two teams have gone under, and you have a Chicago team that is 4-9 to the under at home, going under in 8 of its last 12, and Philadelphia has gone under in 6 of their last 9. I think I'm going to go to the total here on the show again. maybe another total for me. Let's see what you guys have in this one. All right. Joel's wondering about we've always got to check the injury status of this one, but I don't think Embiid's on the list. In fact, Chicago relatively injury free here. For Philadelphia, you got Barlow questionable, Grimes is questionable, Edgecomb's questionable. Oh, I'm sorry, Embiid is questionable for the game. Actually, I think he'll be in there, but let's see here. I think that's pretty much it right now. Greg says he likes Philly to win. Can't trust Chicago right now, he says. Yeah, I mean, they're, like I said, a terrible favorite. Embiid hopes, Timmy says he hopes Embiid's out because he'd like to play the Sixers. He takes them when Embiid's not playing. Greg says the only reason the Bulls are favorites is because they're at home. And Cinna figured out thinks they'd probably that maybe Embiid should be laid off. Maxey is the X factor here for the Sixers in this one. And all right, I'll go to the total. I'll take it under again here with Philadelphia and Chicago. Milwaukee Bucks and the Memphis Grizzlies. NBA action here for Friday night. The Bucks come in here off of a win. They snapped a 3-game losing streak when they knocked off Indiana on the road and covered. Before that, consecutive losses to Brooklyn, Toronto, and Minnesota here coming in, and they're a dog. They're not favored by a dog by. That's a 5-point spread, not a 0.5 spread. There we go. In fact, I'm seeing right now 5.5 here at some books. Totals dropped just now to 226 or so. There we go. One note here, over at Tony's Picks, they've been introduced NBA props here. I was into some NBA props here on some of the games since it's been introduced on Tony's Picks. And starting in future shows, we might opt to take a prop in our picks here on the show. Tonight, I just kind of loaded up with the usual sides and totals, but may have a little bit of a format change just to promote the props portion of the picks over at Tony's Picks. It's such a nice feature. Memphis is 9-4 against the spread as a favorite this season. They've been a terrific team against the spread overall right now, but Milwaukee, they've covered a few here of late. Let me get it. Like I said, they just came in off of the win over Indiana. For Memphis, meanwhile, they just won at Utah before the holiday, 137-128 as a 4.5-point favorite. Before that, they lost to OKC, got blown out, and they also lost to Washington at home. Ja is questionable. Vince Williams questionable. Coward is questionable. Clark is out of this game. For Milwaukee here, Trent Jr. is questionable. No Giannis still, of course. So what do you think here with a 5-point spread tonight in this one for Memphis here? Like I said, they're a pretty good favorite, although they are just 6-8 against the spread at home. They've actually been favored on the road here some of the time, but Memphis has covered 10 of their last 15 overall. They've been playing a little bit better for sure. 8 of Memphis's last 12 home games have gone under. Milwaukee's gone under in 5 straight right now. Still struggling here. Milwaukee 0-7 against the spread in their last 7 games against Memphis. So, not only is Memphis a terrific home favorite, but they also kind of own this series. I'm taking the Memphis Grizzlies in this one to win and cover over Milwaukee and cover that relatively modest number. These two teams have not yet met here this season. Milwaukee's 4-10 to the under on the road, and Memphis has trended under as well. They're 11-19 to the under so far this season. So I already talked about a bunch of unders there, but I'm going to take Memphis here in this one. I might be saving that other under for a premium, if you know what I mean. Let's see what you guys have in this one. All right. No Giannis, no play for Senna. And Senna, he thinks the Grizzlies are the ones that are banged up. Viral says the Grizz can you do something for me? A Kennard here for Look, we got a couple of Kennards back to back. And Greg here, though, he likes Milwaukee to cover this one. And he likes it under, I think. Cal Dog liking the Bucks. Grizz for Timmy Tushu at home. If the Pelicans can do it, so can the Grizz. And after finally winning, can the Bucks get a winning streak? Right? They can't win more than one in a row, Greg says. I got to take Memphis in a blowout. The Phoenix Suns are taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. NBA action here for Friday night. Pelicans have been the team to beat here of late, although Phoenix did win last time out. They've won 2 of 3, but a couple losses here of late, but they beat the Lakers last time out, hammered them at home. We were on the Suns in that one. They've actually covered 3 straight, have the Suns. They split a home and home with Golden State, but they covered them both. New Orleans, meanwhile, they were hot. They're still relatively hot. The only thing that interfered with their hot streak maybe is the holiday break. They did lose at Cleveland 141-118 last time out, but that only stopped their little winning streak that has brought them a resurgence here. Remember, they were really mired in a bad way, but they're still 8-23. Don't get me wrong, but they are they're hot. They're playing their best ball of the season, I'll say, despite that last loss. And New Orleans has been a terrific cover. Both these teams have been terrific covers, actually. Phoenix is 9-2 against the spread as a favorite, but New Orleans is 12-5 against the spread at home and 17-11 against the spread as an underdog this season. Phoenix has covered 14 of its last 20. They've also covered 8 of their last 10 on the road. 13 of the last 14 meetings between these two semi-frequent opponents have gone over when playing here in New Orleans. I mean, it is a hardcore over, and New Orleans is 13-5 to the over at home, 18-11 to the over as an underdog this season. New Orleans has gone over in 8 of their last 11, and 12 of the last 16 overall have gone over. Now, Phoenix is 9-5 to the over on the road, but 4-7 to the under as a favorite. New Orleans has covered 6 of their last 7 coming in. They've done an excellent job covering, no doubt about it. But like I said, Phoenix also a pretty hot cover here right now. I think I got to go with the over in this one between Phoenix and New Orleans. That's a lot of trend to the over. Yeah, Phoenix maybe is not their perfect spot being favored, but it's only a 3-point spread here against a pretty hot, and maybe it's 3.5 though. 3.5 or 4 right now. I better move it up, and the total is 240 and a half. So let me at least tack in a half a point on there, and maybe a little bit to the total, and then we'll get it from you in the chat. See what you guys have in this one. These two teams met back on November 20th. Phoenix won at home 121-98, but man, New Orleans at home here. Let's see what you got. And it's going to be Greg here. He likes, maybe he likes New Orleans here. Said the spread's too low, though. Be careful. Timmy says it's a track meet arena. That's what they should call the Pelicans at home, right? Yeah, they have some big numbers at home. They actually beat Houston here recently, 133-128 as a 9.5-point dog. Scored 128 against Indiana as well as a 2.5-point favorite. And let's see here. Can the Pelicans get the Spurs? Uh, Viral's going to take the Pelicans in this one. Cal Dogs going over. So that adds a little bit of volatility with this matchup. All right. And Brooks to see. How about when they showed, what was it? They showed, they were previewing the Lakers in the Houston game there on ESPN. Was it last night? And they showed Brooks still on Houston. Like, they always say, like, right, the season starts on Christmas. Maybe the graphics operator doesn't know who's on what team yet either. Cal Dog says it's up to 4 here right now. And I did also see a move come in here just moments ago. Memphis moved up or moved to 5.5 there. All right, I'll take the over in this one. Man, I got 5 totals in 7 games. I might have to try some sides out here on night moves. All right. How about the Pistons taking on the Jazz here? Look, I mean, I know it looks like a mismatch on paper, but hey, that's what the handicap's all about. Utah's lost 4 straight coming in here right now once again. Good opposition though in this time. They lost to Lakers. They lost to Orlando at home. Then they lost at Denver, came back home and lost to Memphis for a 4-game losing streak here. Meanwhile, for Detroit, they're back to winning. They beat up on Charlotte and covered. They covered at Portland. Then they won that game against Sacramento. They won by 9. They were favored by 9.5. Now they're going in here to Utah. 3rd game of the road trip here. And again, another one of those teams that spent Christmas on the road. But still, for Utah here, they are 12-5 against the spread at home this season. Detroit's good, but often favored pretty heavily. They're 8-7 against the spread on the road, 12-12 against the spread as a favorite. The Jazz are in a bad way right now. Not only are they not winning, they didn't cover those last 2, but they were kind of in a cover streak before that. They get the money. What can you say? I mean, 12-5 against the spread at home. It's not like Utah's getting any better. They're just a subpar team by far. Covered 4 of their last 6 overall. Detroit's covered 6 of the last 9 meetings between the 2 teams overall. 5 of the last 7 meetings between the 2 teams have gone over. Detroit's gone under in 4 of its last 5. But again, Utah, they do find a way to get the money sometimes at home, as a dog. Actually, they're only 13-12 as a dog overall, but no doubt some, on the road, maybe a little bit different story than here at home, if you know what I mean. Spread here has crept up to, man, these totals are going up again. We saw yesterday too, right? I thought maybe it was a little bit of a Christmas buzz, a little bit. Maybe the public just getting involved, but the totals are going up here overnight again. Maybe after what we saw. Now, Markkanen is probable in this one. That's a big deal because he actually had missed the last game, right? And they got blown out. So maybe that will be a big factor here, actually. Nurkic is probable as well. Holland is questionable here for Detroit. But let me see what you guys have here. I think it's obvious who I'm taking. So I'll take the Jazz. Love those Pistons, no doubt. Where's AOD when I need them? But Pistons won the first meeting 114-103 at home, and they covered 9.5. Now they're laying 9.5 on the road. They won that one at home by 11, and they covered 9.5, but now they're laying 9.5 on the road. All right, let's see here. All right. How many of the Jazz lost? He's going to sprinkle the money line. Now, the Jazz are 10-19 this season. Not great. Not great. Utah's 13-4 to the over at home so far, and 16-9 to the over as a dog. So Detroit is 6-9 to the under on the road, 12-12. 12 over, 12 under as a favorite. I'm gonna go with Utah at home here plus the points. Utah's good, says I don't know about that. Jazz have to win sometime, don't they? Yeah, they last win was back on December 15th. Utah beat Dallas at home. Greg here says he thinks Utah going to play pretty hard. He thinks they can maybe get the cover. Viral says need some. These aren't the best matchups, right? Viral. Let's. I don't like to be on there and be that guy. I got one partner. He's always making fun of me when I say it's not a great game. Uh, I don't know if I can find what is the best game on this card, you guys. That's almost a trivia question. There's no doubt. This is a very good thing. There's betting. Cow dog, like in Utah here, but I guess you could look to the close games, but again, some of these have bad matchups. What is it? What is the best? Sixers Bulls? Sixers Bulls maybe? Is that and the Bulls have still been so mediocre here of late. Celtics Pacers would have looked great maybe before the season or um, I don't know. What is this is not a great card. Not a great card. Not a great card. Some people say it might be the best card. Viral says, relax, it's still NBA betting. Let's do it. All right, let's do one more and the show's over. It'll be my Clippers on the road, the resurgent Clippers. I guess they're going now. Harden's back. They've won 2 in a row with him back here. Portland's lost 2 in a row coming in. They were on a winning streak recently. Portland, though, meanwhile, 13-6 against the spread as an underdog. The Clippers 2-11 as a favorite this year. Is Harden making the difference right now? Is that really what this has been kind of all about here? Because man, it's going to be hard to shake this, right? When you're talking about a Clippers team that's one of the worst spread teams in the league, they're still one of the worst records in the league. It's just that they've won 2 straight, beating the Lakers in Houston. Although those games were at home, maybe you could look at it that way. Clippers 7-9 against the spread on the road, but like I said, 2-11 against the spread as a favorite, going up against a Blazers team that is 13-6 against the spread as a dog and 7-6 against the spread at home. But Portland's failed to cover in 5 of their last 7 coming in. The Clippers have won 12 of the last 13 meetings over the Trailblazers straight up, going 13-7 against the spread in those games. 6 of the last 9 meetings between these two teams have gone over. This one is maybe this is the game of the night just because of how tough it is. These two teams met in October, and the Clippers won at home 114-107. Did not cover as an 8.5 point favorite in that one. So let me hear what you have. This, at least there's intrigue. And that's what I'll say. At least there's intrigue in this matchup. Clippers, terrible favorite, but there's no doubt, own Portland right now. 12 of the last 13. Maybe you could say that the other Clippers teams, although one meeting was this year, obviously, were better than this Clippers team right now. Is Harden the difference as he's been back here, and the Clippers have looked terrific in those last 2 games. Injury report might be of interest here as well with Portland here. You've got Williams questionable, Murray questionable. Grant is out of this game for the Clippers. Zubac is out of this one. Let's go to the chat. This is it. The show's over. All right. Hey, there's Real Madrid Doge. How you been, RMD? He likes the Blazers here in this one. And Timmy says not a great prop card, too. Clippers here. Yeah, Kawhi. We're expecting Kawhi for sure in this game. And Harden for his threes. if Kawhi doesn't play, um, nothing I'm showing here, has Kawhi out of this game right now. So I think we got Kawhi in here in his averaging 26 points a game here so far this season. He had uh, in that win over the Rockets in that 128-108 win, he had 41 points in that game. I mentioned Harden, but everyone always gives my man Kawhi a hard time. Hey, you go try playing basketball on 2 out of 3 nights with no knee cartilage. All right, Jimmy Chushu for Harden. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Jimmy. He was tough in that one. And like I said, this is a series owned by the Clippers. Yeah, am I disturbed by the Clippers record as a favorite of 2-11? Yes, but also 1.5 points. A spread is a spread. A lot of people will say, you know what, I'm not going to look at the spread. I'm going to look at straight up. That's still not the way to look at things. I'm not. I'm a trend guy, so I think everyone knows that. Oops, drop the pen. Everyone knows that I like the trends, and I think trends are important. But also, uh, you know, a trend just because it's a pick 'em doesn't mean you're going to play good teams and bad teams. A trend, the ATS record is probably still more reflective of a team's again, not necessarily always the ability, but what their record is in terms of public perception. All right. Rockets doubled Harden, and Kawhi was open. So, okay, come on, Clippers. I'm trusting you here. I'm going to take my Clippers on the road to beat the Blazers here on Friday night. Maybe the Clippers can turn it around here. All right. Did that make sense, Spiral? Right? I mean, look, when you have a game that's like like this one, right? A 1.5 point spread. Yeah, you could say Clippers as a favorite. They're not very good. I'd be more inclined to be on Portland if the Clippers were favored by 4.5 or 5 or something like that. All right. And all right. And let's see. Come on, Clippers, says Viral. And Sharp in his threes. All right. His Greg says Billups is Billups still out? Yeah, Billups still out right now. We'll keep you posted if Billups comes back to coach the team. Good one, Greg. All right, I guess that's it for the show, gang. Thank you so much for joining me here. Night Moves. We'll be back tomorrow. Hey, make sure you head on over and go to Tony'sPicks.com and check out our premium picks over there. Always our best picks are over at Tony'sPicks.com. You can check out the handicapper leaderboards and see who's hot and then get signed up. Let me bring Tony's Picks up here right now. There we go. Let's see who had a good day on Christmas. Hey, there's Vegas Al. Make sure you check out Vegas Al. I know he took the holiday off here, but Vegas Al does a great show here leading kind of into this one at midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific with the Tony's Picks look ahead show. Ron Crawford, you see him on a lot of our streams as well. He was a great day there, 3-0. You see Rod there with 5 wins. Mr. Higgs won his only play on Christmas. Merry Christmas to Mr. Higgs and Al Ninos there as well with a win there. So good job by the handicappers there. You can go to the All Cappers tab, find the handicapper of your choice, and that's how you get signed up. Use the promo code Tony T at checkout to save 15% off those premium pick packages, including mine here on Friday. I'll be ready to go with some NBA action here for the card. And check out all of our handicappers over at Tony's Picks. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Great job in the chat there as well. And I'll be back tomorrow with more night moves. We'll get ready for a huge Saturday here with bowl games galore on Saturday. There'll be 8 bowl games here for the action as we lead into the weekend. Bowl games all day on Saturday, and NBA as well. Also, get college basketball back going here soon enough, but it's going to be all about the NBA here for a few days. And I'm going to go check out the second half of the NBL game right now, where New Zealand leads Tasmania. The Breakers lead the Jack Jumpers 37-36 at halftime. If you're looking for a little middle of the night action, check out the NBA app right now. A nice game going on between the New Zealand Breakers and the Tasmania Jack Jumpers. If you have the NBA app on your TV or phone, it's right in there. The game is being shown live right now. If you're looking a little middle of the night action there, I know I was. Where's my? Maybe I should my bet in that one. There, I took New Zealand and the under. So hey, that's not looking too bad so far. Easy for me to say. Okay. Hey, Hector Numba. Missed you, Hector. You know, you can go back and watch the show, and I love having your contributions in there. Thank you, Hector. Hope you had a great Christmas there. And really appreciate you stopping by. All right, show's over. We're back tomorrow with more night moves. For the Tony's Picks YouTube channel, I'm Ramon Scott. So long from Night Moves.